And also the second question would be, in the recent times, the inquiry and the clarification sought from the Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial Killings, Philip Alston. So why is he continuing to question Sri Lanka, even when there is a Human Rights Council resolution that was totally debated and passed? Is he mandated to do that, or what is the reason actually for these two claims?
On the question of genocide, there's a clearly stated definition of the term genocide, and nothing like that ever happened in Sri Lanka. Genocide is the deliberate targeting of an ethnic group or a religious group with the view to eliminating it. In Sri Lanka, it can be stated categorically. Our minority, the Tamil minority, was never targeted by any government in our history. In fact, governments have taken extreme measures to ensure that the Tamil minority of Sri Lanka could live in this country with dignity and respect. Just to illustrate this, 54% of the Tamils of Sri Lanka live amongst the Sinhalese in the south. If there had been genocide in this country, why on earth were these people fleeing their so-called homeland from the clutches of the LTT? Because at that time, the LTT actually controlled that homeland, and going to live in Sinhala-dominated areas. I think this is an absolutely spurious allegation and should not be given any credit at all. I mean, like in any country, whether it be the minority or the majority, there are problems people face. They could be social, they could be otherwise. But to suggest that there was anything like organized targeting of our minority in this country is absolutely false and should not be given any credit. Turning to the question on Philip Alston, he's got a bee in his bonnet, which I cannot understand. He's a respected academic teaching at New York University. He's an Australian by nationality, having taught there also. But as to why he has decided to go after Sri Lanka with this type of enthusiasm and vehemence, it is difficult to understand. As you quite rightly pointed out, an effort by the European Union to isolate Sri Lanka in the Human Rights Council failed miserably. 29 countries voted for Sri Lanka, and only 12 countries voted for the resolution that the Europeans had proposed. In fact, some of the countries that had actually co-sponsored the resolution eventually pulled out. So, I mean, that itself suggests the international community's attitude towards Sri Lanka. Despite all that, Philip has decided to start his own inquiry into a video tape which had been refuted by the Sri Lankan government. There are huge holes in the story that Philip had to say in New York. And in addition to that, I'm bemused that he decided to go to New York to address the media there. He's a creature of the Human Rights Council, which is based in Geneva. Instead of presenting his so-called report in Geneva, he went to New York. Obviously, he was looking for political mileage. He knew that the General Assembly is in New York, the Security Council is in New York. I think this is not acceptable. The way he has deliberately manipulated circumstances to seek his own goal. And there is another factor that I need to mention. Philip Alston could not have been unaware that there is a hotly contested election taking place for the presidency in Sri Lanka at the moment. And his enthusiasm for releasing this report just 2 weeks before the elections, in my view, is an unacceptable intrusion into domestic politics by an United Nations official. I think this is unacceptable. The UN is not there to get involved in domestic politics of a country. The UN has a different role. I think Philip obviously did not understand how we should deal with this question, And the timing that is absolutely appalling. It's inexcusable. I think in the circumstances we need to be a little cautious. Philip Alston's motives are not exactly clear, but I think Sri Lanka needs to deal with him in a different manner.
Yes, and we were speaking to Dr. Palitha Kohona, permanent representative of Sri Lanka to the United Nations. So he said he was expressing how puzzled and he was with respect to Philip Alston's moves, and he referred to the timing of the report to be just before the presidential election, being highly skeptical, and at the same time that it's actually an unacceptable intrusion on the part of the United Nations. He also categorically denied any claims by Western countries as to a genocide. The main argument was also that there was absolutely no targeted attack on ethnic minority, and the very fact that a lot of civilians were fleeing to the government control areas and wanted to be in the government control areas with ample evidence itself. And with respect to IDPs, he was also mentioning that how government had a zero tolerance for casualties, and as a result a lot of infantry was deployed, and as a result there was a lot of cost of lives when it came to the armed forces as well, and the speedy resettlement of the IDPs with all the support they can get about taking the mines away. A mine that was installed in 3 minutes took 3 months to take away, but still those were done, and a speedy resettlement process was conducted. So all this information was brought to us by Dr. Palitha Kohona. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us today and educating and giving us information about the background, and also letting us know the importance of the subtle role played by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also under the leadership of the President. Thank you very much again, and thank you for joining us. Do join us tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day.
Ayubowan Sri Lanka was brought to you by
National Lotteries Board, enriching our lives, enriching our land.
For a classy living, to have a good time, and to look great.